Hello everyone, and Happy New Year. I say that like it's not halfway through January already. I would have been back sooner, but around the turn of the new year I got sick, and I'm only just now kind of recovering from that. And I've also begun recording and editing my video covering the book The Odyssey. So that is in the works currently, and boy oh boy is that gonna be a long one, folks. And so while I take the time that video deserves to work on it, I thought I would tide you guys over with a New Year update to my vinyl collection. Because, surprising no one, I have bought a few more vinyls since I did the last video. This is hopefully going to be a shorter haul, but still an exciting one, so I hope you'll stick around and let's get into the shelf. Beginning with the most visually obvious update, and that being I have bought external sleeves for my vinyls to be housed in. So now they have at least some a semblance of protection. The sleeves will have a semblance of protection as they sit on my shelf. And for the vinyls that came with nice little stickers that I think go with the album quite nicely, I did my best to peel them off nicely and preserve them so that I could reattach these stickers to the external sleeves. So that's new since the last time I did one of these. And in the very near future, I will be getting sleeves for my actual vinyls themselves, like inner sleeves to house the vinyls, ones that are nice and anti-static, because I do want to start taking care of my records now that I have a fairly substantial collection. But with that said, let's get into the records that I have purchased since the last video, as well as an unboxing at the end of this video of a record that came in the mail today. But we are going to start this off with a vinyl copy of the soundtrack for Asteroid City. Asteroid City is the second most recent film by Wes Anderson, written by him and Roman Coppola. It is a very interesting film, a very confusing, very surreal film that has become my Roman Empire since I first saw it in theaters. It is very confusing. At some point, I'm probably gonna do a video talking about my theories as to what actually goes on in this movie, because spoiler alert, it's not immediately apparent what goes on in this movie. But it had an amazing soundtrack, a very fun soundtrack. Most Wes Anderson projects that I have watched do, and so I got the soundtrack on vinyl. I wasn't even looking for it, I didn't know they made it, but I was in a Sunrise Records in Edmonton, and I saw this in their soundtrack bin, and I got so excited. But let's take a look at the actual vinyl. This is a double LP. You can see when we open up the jacket, we've got some images, stills from the movie, as well as track listing and credits. And we've got some more of that on the back. You'll also notice that the font of the actual film, Asteroid City, is a font that I use quite often on my channel because I like the vintage aesthetic that it applies to my videos. I do also color grade my videos to look a little more vintage, like add the kind of filmic look to it. And I also film all of my videos using a vintage lens that I have had for several years. But enough of that tangent, because when we open this up, we get a vinyl record that is a beautiful, just vintage orange look to match the aesthetic of the movie. The color palette of Asteroid City is very much into the pastel oranges and blues, because the story takes place in America in the 1950s in the desert, so it very much has that vintage Americana aesthetic, and I think that's reflected very well in this LP and in the vinyls themselves. Now, I have not had the chance to spin this yet. I got it fairly recently, but this is going to be a very fun spin. And if you haven't watched Asteroid City for yourself, I would absolutely recommend it. You may not understand it. I know I didn't when I first watched it, and even after a few viewings, I definitely don't get it in its entirety. But I do think that it's worth watching and worth thinking about. And the next one on my list is another Johnny Cash record. This is Johnny Cash, American number 6, Ain't No Grave. I have mentioned before on this channel in previous hauls that I really love the sound of old Johnny Cash. Both old Johnny Cash back when he was young and performing in prisons, but also the sound of Johnny Cash when he got older, just the rawness of his vocals and the very minimalist acoustic productions made for a very dark but very impactful atmosphere. And so I got another one of his American records. This is a single LP. On the cover we can see Johnny Cash, a photo of Johnny Cash when he was a boy, and then if you flip the record around, you can see a picture of an older Johnny Cash peering out the window, which is just a really poignant shot. And then the actual vinyl sleeve, on the inside we have a photo of an older Johnny Cash and the clouds overhead. Yeah, very atmospheric. Even the presentation of this record is atmospheric. And the inside is a standard black vinyl, but with a really nice design. American recordings. I love old Johnny Cash, and so I will absolutely be spinning this one. Oh, and this was a cool find. I should mention that all of the records we're talking about today do come from Sunrise Records. I haven't had the chance to visit many other record stores, except for the vinyl at the end we're gonna be unboxing, and I will tell you where that came from at the end. But this was a really cool find. This is the soundtrack for The Empire Strikes Back, composed by John Williams. Of course, The Empire Strikes Back being the second Star Wars movie to be made, even though we know it as Episode 5 now. Just an amazing cover. We've got some original artwork of Luke Skywalker and a Tauntaun at the beginning of the movie, and to my knowledge, this may be, I don't think it's a first pressing by any stretch, but I do think that this may be one of the original releases of this soundtrack. Normally, if I'm looking at a subsequent release for a vinyl or a remaster, there will be an updated copyright on it, like it'll say, you know, copyright 1980 something, but then underneath will be copyright 2014 or something. But when I look at the front and the back of this, the only copyright info I can find is from 1980. So I'm not sure if that means that this is one of the originals. I like to think it is, but I'm no expert, so I could absolutely be wrong. And on the back we have Cloud City and what looks to be a crashed X-Wing. Interesting, they're kind of merging planets in this one, but that's fine. The artwork is amazing. But let's open this up. This is a single LP, but the jacket does open up to reveal lots of text about John Williams and the process of composing the music for The Empire Strikes Back. And we even have some old photos of John Williams from back in the day, as well as producer George Korngold, as they are discussing the score itself. That's very cool. The Empire Strikes Back remains my favorite of these Star Wars movies. I know that's not a hot take by any stretch, but it is. It really is my favorite of the Star Wars movies. And I've been wanting to rewatch the old trilogy recently. I should get around to that. And here we have the soundtrack on vinyl. It is a standard black vinyl, of course. It even has the 20th Century Fox fanfare as the opening track to the record, which is really cool. And the second track is the main title, you know, the big Star Wars ba-ba-da-da. But it transitions into the first track of the actual movie itself, which is really cool. Because in the movie it does that too. It goes from the opening fanfare right into the soundtrack for the movie. I believe all the Star Wars movies do that, or at least the old ones. But yeah, this was a really cool find, and honestly, if it's not an original, I don't really care, because I love The Empire Strikes Back, and I love the soundtrack for this movie, so I'm very excited about this find. And that is not the only Star Wars soundtrack that I purchased that day, because I also found a 20th anniversary edition of the soundtrack for Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Of course, Episode 3 was filmed afterwards, but people know about the Star Wars timeline. I don't have to explain that. But we've got some really cool artwork here. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite of the prequel trilogy, and the soundtrack was absolutely a huge element in that. I think for whatever the highs and lows of the film itself were, I think John Williams cooked with his soundtrack. And I do love Revenge of the Sith. I can acknowledge the flaws of the prequel trilogy and still just really enjoy it. Got really cool artwork on the front, and on the back it's just starry background with the track list and credits. And let's get into actually opening this thing. This is a double LP, and when you open up the jacket, you get this amazing view, this cityscape of the planet Coruscant. And if we take out just one of the vinyls, we've got this really fun little star patterned sleeve. Ooh, and the vinyl. Oh ho ho. Because it's Revenge of the Sith, they decided to present the soundtrack in this gorgeous red color. Obviously red being primarily associated with the Sith Lords in the Star Wars franchise. So this is actually really cool. It is an anniversary edition, so I'm definitely not surprised that they went crazy with it. But yeah, this looks absolutely beautiful. I love Revenge of the Sith. I need to rewatch the Star Wars movies. I think that's what this video is convincing me of. And that's the last of my Star Wars vinyls. And I've actually had this record for a while, but I kept forgetting to show it in my hauls. But I do have the hip-hop record Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar. This was the precursor to Pimp a Butterfly, which is, in my mind, my absolute favorite Kendrick record of all time. And this is the deluxe edition, hence the van on the cover art. So there are some bonus tracks included on side D of this record. This is a double LP, and it is truly an amazing album. Before he could be launched into national and then international stardom as a legendary LA rapper, he first had to be the good kid in that mad city. And if you've listened to the album, you know. Even on the cover it says a short film by Kendrick Lamar, and that really is how it feels when you listen to the record front to back. It feels like you are watching a short film, a very dark and very powerful short film. And this is a double LP presented on black vinyl. Sometimes simple is beautiful. Standard black vinyl, black presentation in the middle. Very, very cool. This will be the first and last time you will ever see Drake on a Kendrick Lamar record. And if he could scratch that track off of this record, I'm sure he would. Very cool album. I've had this one for quite a while. I bought it at a Sunrise Records in Kelowna, but I just forgot to show it, I guess. It just slipped my mind. So that means I have every Kendrick record on vinyl from Good Kid, Mad City all the way up to GNX. Although I don't have Untitled Unmastered, and I don't have his records before, like I don't have Section 80, which I believe is the earliest Kendrick record you can get on vinyl, unless there were re-releases of his older stuff on vinyl. But I do have the majority of Kendrick's discography on vinyl now, which I am very happy about. And Good Kid, Mad City is a fantastic album. It's really hard for Kendrick to make a bad album. To my knowledge, I haven't heard one that is bad. And now for a very Notorious vinyl, because it is Ready to Die by Notorious B.I.G. This was the debut album of Biggie Smalls himself, legendary New York rapper, and featured many of his breakout hits like Juicy, Big Papa. And this specific version is presented on exclusive gold vinyl. The King of New York deserves no less. I've had this record for a couple weeks now, and so far my shelf has not been set on fire from just this record and my Tupac record being too close together. I have them fairly separate on this shelf, so hopefully they'll be fine. And if you open the jacket, it is just track list, credits, all that stuff. I do love this record. It is an incredible record with some amazing lyricism and just rapping by Biggie. The only reason I've been hesitant is because while he was discovered as an artist and able to break out into a larger scene than just the city of New York, it just sucks that he was discovered by the literal devil himself. So I've been hesitant to get one, but ultimately I decided it was time because I do love the album. I love Ready to Die. Biggie was a very talented rapper, and so I wanted him on the record shelf. And this is the exclusive gold vinyl that it is presented on. Unfortunately, it is presented by Bad Boy Records, the record company of Satan, and so that's not great, but I do love this album. I am conflicted. about purchasing a physical copy, but I can't let one evil man scare me away from purchasing a piece of hip-hop history and a record of genuine talent. It is a very dark, very gritty, almost Scorsesean feeling reflection and biopic of a drug dealer and a gangster. And it holds nothing back. The violence, the money, all of it. It's all put on display, and it's not pretty, but it is very well done. So rest in peace to Biggie, and I hope that Diddy dies in jail. Did I mention this is a double LP? This is a double LP. So even though I'm conflicted, I am very happy to have a Biggie record in the record collection because he was just an incredible rapper. And I hope that he is resting in peace now, along with Tupac, of course. And speaking of hip-hop records, next up we have Daytona by Pusha T. This is an incredible record, probably one of Pusha's greatest solo albums. After the incredible year he and his brother had last year with the reunion of Clips and their album being nominated for Album of the Year, I don't think the Grammys have taken place yet, but I hope they win. Or if not, I hope that it's close. There were some great albums this last year, but he had some incredible tracks on here, some incredible verses. There is a feature by Kanye, and he was the producer, I believe, the main producer for this record. I don't think I need to mention what he's all done. It really is crazy that two of my most controversial records, not even controversial records, but records made by controversial producers were literally stacked back to back. Oh boy. But again, I can't let that deter me. I love Pusha T. I love Daytona. So I got it on vinyl. This is a single LP, and it's on limited edition purple splatter vinyl to kind of match the cover. Firstly, inside we have just this little sheet here that is a track list and credits, of course. And the vinyl itself is very lovely looking. True to the cover, we have this purple splatter effect, this purple and white splattering effect on this vinyl. Looks really cool. And like I said, it's a single LP. It's a very short record, but it is a very good record. So I have that. Shout out to YouTuber Screwface Jean for putting me on to Pusha T and the Clips. He was the one who introduced me to them, and I absolutely love their music. So huge shout out to the boy. And this one's a Christmas vinyl, so it is a little out of date, but I bought this for next Christmas. It is the soundtrack for Irving Berlin's White Christmas. This is a classic, very old Christmas movie starring Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, and Vera Ellen. It's a very old movie, but it has become a tradition for me personally to watch this movie every year around Christmas because it's just so damn charming. I love it. I don't usually watch musicals, but for this movie I make an exception. And this is on collector's edition white vinyl, which we will see in a moment. We've got this very cool cover art that is only a little bit disturbing and uncanny. And on the back we have some stills from the movie itself. Really well done. Lovely use of color in the movie as well. I believe this was back in Technicolor days when they had to color the film afterwards, and the colors really pop in a lot of sequences. This is a single LP, and here it is, presented on white vinyl. This thing has some weight to it. Hold on. This is a very thick record. Pause. But no, this looks amazing, and it's very sturdy. I can attest to that. The weight is crazy. Very much looking forward to spinning this next Christmas. I may even cheat and do it early. I love White Christmas, the film, and I love the soundtrack, so I wanted to get that on vinyl because it's very special to me. This isn't even a family tradition that I adopted. I first watched White Christmas while I was at university at a screening in one of the classrooms there over the holidays, and I just loved it so much. It's so damn charming. So I definitely recommend it for that reason. It is an older movie, obviously, but I think it's fun. I think it's worth the watch. All right. And now for one final record, the record that came in the mail this very day. So let's unbox that, shall we? Now, I bought the record from a company called After Hours Records, although on the box it says After the Tone, which is a company that is most known, I believe, for doing those audio guest books, like for weddings, where you can leave an audio message, but it's on this like vintage looking phone. So it's really cool, really cute. I don't know if the companies are related or not, but I bought this from After Hours Records, so shout out to them. And let's open this baby up. I'm trying to do this way so that I don't leak my address. But I wanted to do the unboxing on camera because I thought it'd be fun. Just a little quirky. It's very well packed, very thinly packed, but it's very well packed in here. So I hope the record survived. I'm always paranoid about ordering records on the internet just because I don't know how well they're gonna be treated by couriers on their way here. Oh, look at that. Looks like it arrived intact. It's a little dusty, but it's been in a cardboard box. This is the Blossom EP by indie artist Juliana Shahid. I just listened to it fairly recently. I believe it's been out for about a year now, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've talked about her before on this channel. She's an indie artist who is very much into the like vintage, quiet aesthetic. And I absolutely love her music, so I had to get this on vinyl when I found out that that was an option. On the front we have her posing with some fun little lights, and on the back I believe it's a photo from the same shoot, looks like, as well as a track list and some credits. Very cool packaging. Let's open up the plastic on here. That I'm going to do carefully and off camera, because if actual record collectors saw how I open my records, they would get very scared very fast. This one is wrapped tight though. I might need to sit down for this. Props to After Hours Records for packing their vinyls very well, but immediately dock them marks for packing them too well. There we go. We broke the seal. That's like the most ominous way I could have said that. Someone get the Book of Revelations. I think they wrote something about this. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're so back. We're so back. So this is it unwrapped. We got the front cover art and the back, as I said. And let's take a look at the vinyl itself. This is a single LP. It's an EP, so there's very few tracks on it, so they could get away with a single LP. And look at that. It's presented in this almost vintage brown. And we've got like the hands of like a childhood clock, like really stubby plastic hands, and you can see the numbers going around. Very cool. And each number corresponds to a track on this thing. And so from what it looks like, side 1 is the entirety of the EP from beginning to end, and then side B contains 5 bonus tracks and alternate mixes of certain tracks. She's very much known for like songs played through like old-fashioned phone distortion, and so it looks like a lot of these are very similar to that. 2 alternate recordings of the track Memento, 2 alternate recordings of the track Passing Thought, as well as a bonus track Tamagotchi. But this is a really cool vinyl, very well presented, very well done. From what I know, After Hours Records is a company for, like, you can make individual orders yourself if you have an audio file that you want put onto a record, or if you are a smaller artist who isn't planning on selling thousands of records, you could sell them through that business, through After Hours Records. And being a smaller indie artist, I could definitely see the appeal of going with a company like them, and it looks like they did a really good job. Obviously, I have yet to spin this. This is brand new. I have been listening to this EP quite a lot, so I'm very excited to have a vinyl copy of it. And if you're into like very vintage, almost cottagecore aesthetic, but not quite cottagecore, I would definitely recommend checking out her music. Very fun, very peaceful. So I'm very excited to be adding this to my collection. So I'm going to get an external sleeve to put around that and protect it, because I want to keep this intact for as long as I can. Perfect. and this will be going on the shelf. And with that, we have come to the end of this vinyl haul. I hope it ended up being shorter than the last one. I just wanted to give a little update, say Happy New Year to you all, and give you a video to hopefully tide you over while I make the Odyssey video, because I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna take a while. It is absolutely gonna be longer than my Mandela catalog video, so get excited for that, or terrified, whichever one. Either way, pray for me, because I'm gonna need it. Just making this video, not this video that you're watching, just making this Odyssey video is going to be my own Odyssey in and of itself. But it's a task I am up for. I love this story, and I'm really enjoying talking about it, even though you guys haven't seen me talking about it, but it's gonna happen. So get excited for that. I may end up making one or maybe two more videos as well down the road to tide you guys over, because the Odyssey video is probably gonna end up coming out in February, maybe March, I'm not sure. I'm getting there as fast as I can, but it's gonna take a while, and I'm taking a break from that just to make this video. So yeah, I'm not sure, but I hope you're excited for that, because I know I am. I'm putting a lot of effort into this video coming up. I've put a lot of work in it, put a lot of research. I've read the book twice at this point, and so that'll be coming down the road very soon. And of course, a huge shout out goes to the patrons, Sean, Happy the Knife, and the top tier patrons, RD, Snowy, and Bottomless Potamus. Thank you so much for supporting me, supporting the content, supporting my dream of maybe doing this full-time one day, and just indulging me when I decide to do a crazy long video like this one on the Odyssey coming up. And I know, at least from the patrons, that they enjoy watching a vinyl haul, so I hope you guys enjoyed this shorter one. Hopefully it was shorter, and I liked the added element of doing an unboxing at the end. I literally just got that in the mail today, like 5 minutes before I hit record on this camera. So yeah, I have fun making these little vinyl hauls, and they are a great break from just the days of work that I have put into editing this video, this Odyssey video, thus far. And I'm not even done filming, to be clear. I'm nowhere near done filming, but I've also edited a lot of the footage down, so that's something. This video is quickly turning into me just promoting the Odyssey video, so I'm gonna get out of here before I do that anymore. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time for another great video. Maybe a really long one, maybe something a little more like this. I hope that you're excited for that, because I know that I am. And cut.